scanning and all that. How do you keep the brain leveled? I want to talk a lot about this, about learning to win, because I think that's something that's really, really important. Because there's a difference between, Carl, in my opinion, winning and learning to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we play a sport which is a competition, right? And I think it's a lot of people kind of deviate away. And listen, it's a polarizing topic, right? Like when do you start to place an emphasis on the winning component? But I think the learning to win is just fitting all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together to get the final picture that you want. And I think if you're able to do the right things at the right times, then you can almost say to the players that most often than not, the result will take care of itself. And I think it's the process of how we train our goalkeepers in terms of the decision making. We thought that if you notice here, there's the passion for the position, and you have to have that like off the pitch too. There's a personality trait in terms of behavioral, but it is a process, and even at the senior level. And playing at the highest level in the world, Saskia, you can say that it's still a process, right? It's still a process. You still have to embrace the fact that you're learning about yourself and learning about the experience that you're faced in front of you every single day, no matter what your level of experience is. So the treating it like it's an educational platform, just in a very different setting, is a really important trait that we try and encourage these guys to embody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking about the fact, Saskia, that like you talk about, nobody cares whether you won the ECNL national championship or, that showcase event, winter showcase, or whatever type of thing.
Well,
however,
in context, what I mean is, when we go back to the discussion of what kind of goalkeepers are you picking? Are you trying to develop your goalkeepers for the future, or are you just picking because winning is all that matters to you? I mean, that's what I mean by that. Like, I want to be developed. I want to, like we just said, I want to learn every day. I have a bigger picture down the road for me. So if you turn around and say, hey, you lost in the national, which of course I do tease, and Julie Foudy, if you're listening, we beat you in the semifinals and national championships when I was 16. So I will never let you live that down. But that's just a personal thing. In hindsight, like, how much did I learn from that moment, and how much did that grow for me as a keeper down the road? Like, and that was me wanting to constantly get better and constantly learn and stuff like that. Did it mean something in the time? It did. But how did I grow from it is what really it means to me.
Yeah,
and whenever I get the chance to throw that in, I do. Sorry.
No, but I'm thinking about that, Carl, though. It's that thing. It's like, yay, hooray, you won the title. Why did you win the title?
Mm-hmm.
And let's see how the building blocks led to you winning that title. Because if you don't know why you won, how do you replicate that? How do you continue that progress?
The review, and that's where that process we talked about, we touched upon, like the match analysis process, right? Like the review is I would probably say more so important than the actual planning for the success, right? Because can you do it once, or do you want to be a serial winner? Do you want to be a serial high level performer? So the review, in terms of enjoying and embracing the moment of success that we're talking about, but just going back at the right time. The time is important to do it, but and look at, okay, what led to this, allows, and that's, it is, the process is the word that we use, but it's key that review and how you do it is critical. It really is.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And Carl, I know we're about an hour right now, so let us know, whenever you need to start dismounting. But this is a fascinating conversation. I know we could go for hours.
Yeah, I can nerd out about goalkeeping all afternoon, so no problem.
It makes me think, and I'm not just throwing it out because I have the hat on, but the process that UCLA went through to win the national championship this year, and knowing that being with them the 2 years before, and what was the process that we didn't win, and what were the changes that were made with Marg and her new staff coming in. And I've talked to the parents, I've talked to the players about what the changes were off the field and the professionalism. And this is no knock on Sam and those guys or anything. I thought we had an incredibly great crew as well, but the changes that were made to tweak that, to bring them to the national championship, but now to repeat it, which I think they can, because now they have this building block in this process on and off the field as individuals, with presence, with everything that that you need as a team. It's not just a one-off. Like, what did you learn? That's what we're talking about from the process that took you to win this. It's not the final action, it's the process.
Yeah, you know, Carl, I have a question here about the ruthless, because I think that might be misinterpreted by some people out there. What do you mean by ruthless?
Well, I think the essence of competition is, you know, are you better than the person who's facing directly in front of you, right? And I think you know, it's in the rawest form. It's like, are you willing to embrace that, right? And as a goalkeeper, it's me versus a person who's trying to hit the ball as hard as they can at me, right? Like, let's just call a spade here. Like, that's what it is, right? So like the ruthlessness of it is like, okay, like I know what's the situation that I'm faced with here. Like, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. I don't want to try and, you know, make it a little, you know, less palatable because this might not be comfortable for me. But the building the competitor is like, are you willing to be ruthless within the culture that we set, within the standards that we want to maintain, within the environment that we work so hard to create and embrace? Are you willing to do everything that you possibly can to come out on the positive side of that competition? And I think it's probably the one position on the field where it is about as, you know, simply put as it's you versus me, right?
Absolutely.
And that is, for me, it's a trait that our competitors, you know, as they transition up the pyramid, have to have.
Absolutely. And for that, I just thrived in that setting. Like, every day brought it, like for me, and I'm not patting myself on the back. It's just one of the things that I loved about playing, loved about the position, and loved about going to training every single day and going to games. It's just like, no way, not today. Mia, you're not beating me. Michelle, you're not beating me. Nothing. It was me. It was us, me, Bri, you know, whoever else was there against them. Always, every session, every drill, everything. And that mentality to flip that switch and to be there and be present in those moments and take that's just the next level, to be able to bring that. It's not going through the motions.
Yeah, you know, I want to talk about this, Carl, really quickly with ruthless, because I'm just thinking about in regards to, you know, session design and how you behave, you know, within your sessions as a coach, you know, and we're trying to develop presence. Like, do you have conversations on like when you as a coach need to be ruthless and when you as a coach need to back off?
Oh yeah, I mean the point of communication in a training session, and the point of communication during a match session is really does really dictate how powerful you want that point to be, right? If your timing is off, you know, not waiting to the end of an activity, not waiting till the end of a set, you know, or in a game, you know, trying to communicate with your goalkeeper when they still have things in front of them that they need to organize and be aware of, you know, the power in that moment is completely gone. So as coaches, you know, you go through the coaching courses, you talk about, you know, coaches can speak for 2 minutes, but they really haven't said anything at all in them 2 minutes. Right? Like, it's like, you know, sometimes, you know, we got a couple of former players at the club here, Brazilian players, and they say, you know, too much water kills the plants, right? But also not enough water kills the plants too, right? So it's finding that, like, that really fine balance of when to say, what not to say. And the timing for me is, you know, you want the goalkeepers to exude that moment of calm in amongst where everything is hectic. I think that's really important advice for a coach too, right? When you feel like you have to get up and say something, it's almost like, okay, just give it a couple of seconds and just think, do you really want to say it?
And I usually think to myself, let me see if they figure it out as well. You know, it's a mistake that keeps happening. Let me see if they figure this out. Because like you said, when you're playing in front of 30,000 people, I can't fix this. You know, like I'm not going to yell from them. I'm not going to joystick or anything like that. So let's see in the run of play, whether it's a small side or whether it's something, if you can figure out this consistent thing that you're doing and you can make that adjustment, you know, and you can self-coach. And then if you can't, then you can jump up and say something.
Yeah.
But I love that, because like right here in the decision making in regards to just like solving problems in and out of possession autonomously, you know, and making those decisions. Hey guys.
Hello.
Jordan. Oh, you made it.
I made it. I opened my computer. It like logged in. All of a sudden, just black, and I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "I hope it works."
Oh my gosh.
How are you guys?
Hey, Jordan.
Good. Hello.
So, Jordan, just really quickly before we start the show, how do you pronounce your last name properly? Is it Silkowitz?
Yep, Silkowitz.
Okay. Okay, cool. Sweet.
Crushed it.
Awesome.
Crushed it. He works on those things, trust me.
Oh.
I do. Hold on. Let me remove this banner right here. Banners. There we go. Hold on. What am I doing here? Never done this before. Never done this in my life whatsoever.
No, just 500 times.
Yeah, exactly. All right, here we go. Welcome to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid, live from a non-snowing West Hollywood, California. We had flurries yesterday, Saskia Weber. It was a big deal.
I saw them. You know, I said, Shannon, look, it's snowing. And then she ran inside and she was texting everybody. And then I realized it was like the pollen or the buds coming off the tree because of the wind. And I didn't have the heart to tell her. I was like, she's like, I texted everybody it was snowing. I was like, yeah, all right. We'll just leave it at that.
It's just dandelions.
It was.
Those of you guys tuning in for the first time, the voice you're hearing right there, if you're not watching the show, is 99 World Cup winner Saskia Weber, who I think is sporting a camp shutout.
I am. I thought I'd give a nod to Stan and everybody. I'd be like, all right.
I love it. And somebody that knows a little bit about dealing with the snow, we have Casey current NWSL draft pick, who's just finished her first preseason in the NWSL after an illustrious career in college over at Iowa State. Jordan Silkowitz, what's up?
What's up? Thanks for having me.
I don't think she's done with preseason.
Oh, you guys still in the preseason? Okay.
We finished our preseason little camp, but there's still a little more. We still have a few more weeks.
I'm like, because I haven't started announcing games yet, so I think she's got about 4 more weeks or 3 more weeks.
The first half.
Yeah.
What if it was like the first game was like tomorrow and like Saskia's like, oh, I'm supposed to be in like Florida right now. Oh man. Well, you know what's really funny about this, Jordan, is that we started really getting deep in the weeds with you earlier on, like in January, I think January, when Saskia was researching the NWSL draft, and she had to do a deep dive into all the goalkeepers in the draft. So she really got to know you pretty well.
Yes.
That's awesome.
How did it feel?
Getting drafted?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. True. I don't even think I have the word for it. It was so surreal. It was incredible. I'm just so blessed and so grateful. It was, like I said, honestly, truly at a loss for words still. It was such like a well organized, put on event. I have never been to like a draft, or you watch it on TV and you're like, oh, that's so cool. But when you're like actually there, it's mesmerizing. It was really special. And
yeah, it was.
Funny story, when I got drafted, actually, I was sitting with my parents came, my uncle, my grandma, my cousin, my best friend from school, and my boyfriend all came with me to the draft. And I was sitting, it was like second round. We had like gotten up, got something to drink. We're just kind of like sitting on the back couches, like obviously waiting for Kansas State to make their pick. And we're like, no way, like this is super early for a goalkeeper. Like I was like, maybe I'll go like end of 4th, like not too normal goalkeepers get taken high or any of that. And so when my name, I think I just blacked out for a second. Like, we all look at each other like, that's me.
Did we hear that?
Yeah, literally. I was like, I just walked in my hands over my mouth. I couldn't believe it. But,
yeah, Mike, what's funny is like with like the NFL draft, let's say, they get a phone call. So like, the coach will call before, even if you're sitting like in the arena and stuff like that, you see them on the phone, you get a phone call before. There is no heads up whatsoever. It is total surprise.
That's amazing. And you know, the funniest thing about that, Jordan, is that Saskia had a soft spot every single time when she was doing the draft coverage. Oh my God. Yeah. You know, all of you all were all right there in the panel over there. And then at the second, anytime a goalkeeper was taken, they would be like, Saskia, and just like turn to you.
And I'd be like beaming and like such a great draft for goalkeepers it was. I mean, like, you know, especially the third round and everything, but just, you know, such a good core. And I think that going in, I wasn't sure how the teams are going to go goalkeeper wise, because a lot of times, you know, goalkeepers don't go high in drafts. It's true. It's not like a quarterback. Yeah. It should be, but it's not. And then just to see, you know, you go and then Lauren go and everybody go, it was just like, it was a great draft for me. I was loving it.
No, it was.
And, you know, and I think one of the funniest things, Jordan, is that night, you know, after you got drafted, I tried to hit you up, and literally after I hit you up, I'm like, there's no way she's going to respond. Like, she's got probably so much going on right now. Cause like Saskia had to leave the next day. She only had like one day, and I wanted to do this live with you. And then like a couple weeks later, you're like, I am so sorry. I missed this message. There was a lot going on that night.
Just a little
bit. It was
bit.
Crazy. When I got drafted, I had my phone in my hand. I gave it my first ever goalkeeper coach, Zach. He actually came to the draft. And I gave him my phone. I put it down. He picked it up. He said he had to give it to my teammate and best friend Mira because my phone was just blowing up. Like, I couldn't even open my phone. Texts were just coming in. Like, so grateful. I was like, I didn't even, like I said, I didn't even see it until the next few days. I had to like go through everything.
That's awesome.
You know, and I think the really cool thing about this is that you know, a lot of people aren't familiar, but you actually have a relationship with Lloyd at KC already.
Mm-hmm. So when I was younger, I always wanted to be a goalkeeper, but I ran track. So like running was my thing for a while. And at one point I was just like, I'm so tired of running. I want to do something with running. So like, obviously I started playing soccer, but my coach would never let me play in goal. She's like, you'd be a waste of space in the goal. Like, you're too fast to be in goal. Like, no way. Sorry, we're not doing it.
Gotta love coaches.
Yeah, I was like, no way. I'm gonna go to a team where I can get some training and play in goal. So I went to a different club, and Lloyd was actually the first ever session. I just wanted to try out being a goalkeeper. He was my goalkeeper coach.
I love it.
Oh my gosh,
Full
that's
circle.
amazing. I love the way you're like, you'd be wasted in goal, like just like
waste of space. You're too good of an athlete and stuff. Put the fat kid in the back. Like, no, it's just that it's that stigma. It's like, no, it's put the great athlete that's fit and can handle it in the back, mentally, everything. Come on, coaches.
Exactly.
I've literally honestly heard that actually at the foundational levels, at the club level, and hopefully things are improving from the past. But when I started coaching club, you know, you would get these conversations about the U9s and stuff. They're like, oh, I just need a kid that can pick up the ball if it rolls to them. Like, that's all I want. That's all I want back there. You know, I want the athletes playing on the field scoring goals for me. Anyway, obviously Jordan, so you got that connection with Lloyd, and more connections with the inside the 18 and the Union goalkeeping community. Dan Ball as well worked with Jordan at Iowa State.
He was a big reason why I went to Iowa State. I mean, I wanted to be coached by the best, and in the whole transfer process, I really bought into Dan, and he bought into me, and we worked great together. I grew so much, not only as a goalkeeper but as a player, and I'm really fortunate for him. And actually, this summer I got to go and train with Angel City for a few weeks, and then I actually went to Kansas City for a week, and then Louisville. So just kind of got my feet wet in the professional environment, and he was a big help in that. I wouldn't be where I am without him.
That's awesome. That's actually a great segue into today's topic, actually, guys, which is preparing for a new environment. Jordan, obviously, you know, you're moving on from the collegiate environment to the professional environment right now. For some people out there who don't know what we mean by a new environment, like in your thoughts, like what do you think of a new environment for you?
Well, I feel like there's different ways. Obviously, the jump from like you're in a college environment and then obviously to a professional environment. But that can also be, I'd also transferred schools to a new environment, obviously within the same level, but within like college soccer, but just jumping into that professional level. It's like the step. Everyone always talks about the step from high school to college and how big of a jump that is into that new environment, but it's the same, if not even bigger, from college to pro.
You know, it's funny that you just said that right there, because, you know, I think a lot of times, Saskia, people kind of think of things as different steps, but you know, even the step from like U11 soccer or U10 soccer to, you know, U12 or U13 or whenever they move into the big goal is a new environment.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it really says something about somebody that can change environment, and it's a major step to go from college to pro. And even though we've talked about it on the show, some college programs are better than the pro environment, you know, to be honest, but you're also going to school every day. You have like a core of friends, you're living in the dorms, you have a meal plan, you have like all this stuff. And now all of a sudden you're going pro and you go to practice, you go to video and stuff. And then the rest of the day is your own. And how do you maintain that? How do you your like food, everything is now on you. And it's pro, and it's a change. You're leaving all your safe space, all your friends and everything, and you're going and you're making new friends and you're starting over. And not everybody can handle that.
Yeah. And by the way, Jordan, feel free to step in anytime. You don't need to wait for us to ask you a question.
Because Mike will just babble.
Yeah, I'll just babble.
No,
I'll just
thank
babble.
you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
just interrupt him.
Yeah. So feel free to elaborate if you want. But like, I think, you know, Saskia just brought up a really good point that I wasn't even thinking about in regards to like new friends too. Because whether you're a youth player or a college player going into the pro game, when you go into a new environment, these are new women that some of them maybe you have a relationship with, some of them maybe you don't have a relationship with. And, you know, finding a way to kind of acclimate yourself, not just on the field, but off the field is so massive.
Oh, it's huge. And I mean, you alluded to it. Just you're going from where you know everyone, like especially you've been in transferring, but you've been in the same environment for a few years and things change, but you're still accustomed to things. But then you go into a brand new environment and being able to, everyone says it, but be comfortable being uncomfortable. Like still be able to perform at what you were, but in completely different environments. Like you don't have school anymore. Like it's soccer. You have to completely adapt to, and the age gap is so much bigger too.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, you're working with like 5 years max, but then obviously you have
10, 15 years.
Exactly. People are married, have kids. like it's so, and a rookie coming in like straight out of college is very different.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, even for me, with the national team, the age gap wasn't that big, but when you look at just the difference in somebody's life outside the sport, like whether it was Joy or Carla or any of those players, they had kids. They would go home when we all lived in Florida for 6 months. They would go home and have the kids, and on the weekends they take them to Disney or whatever. And for me, I'm just like, okay, that's not who I am. Like I'm like single and in Orlando. And so it's like, it was important for me to find an outlet and friends within the team, but friends outside of the team as well, and be comfortable in my life. And it is a big difference because in college, like you're staying in the same dorms as everybody and you're seeing everybody and you're constantly like in the mix, and to find like comfortability in that's part of it as well. It is a big transition. And you're still in the United States. Like imagine moving overseas. I went to Japan. Yeah.
I mean, Jordan, I was just thinking about this. Like how is it really that different than going from being a senior in high school to a freshman in college?
I would say it's different. I think you obviously have like the experiences of college, like going into pro, but it kind of is like a brand new sport, like in a sense. Things are so much faster. The pace of everything is so much faster. We've talked about the outside life, like that's so much like not faster, but different that you have to get accustomed to. And I've only been in it for a month now, and we were in Florida, so it was like a little different. Like everyone's kind of outside their environment of being at home.
Right. They're not going home to their houses or their apartments. Like you're all staying in the same place. And yeah, I get that.
I was actually just thinking about
that. I think that's good though.
Oh, I completely agree. It was
because
awesome.
It forces you to mesh as a team. Like if you're doing preseason home, right? So once you're done video, you're done with weights, whatever, after practice, like if people are just dispersing and going to their own places, now you're in a forced environment where you're probably having meals together, where it's more like when you're traveling for away games and everything.
I was literally just thinking that, Saskia, you stole that right out of my mouth.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's great because I want to save my voice because I clearly am losing my voice right now. So it's good. Oh no, you don't understand, Jordan. Saskia and I, we had a meeting like about an hour ago, and like while I'm like trying to get like very like, articulate and like very businessy in this like whole like whole like monologue type thing.
Yeah, he's hacking. He's hacking,
my
and
God.
he's drinking Pedialyte.
That is so funny.
I knew you were drinking Pedialyte.
How? Because you could tell the bottle. Oh, you could tell.
I told you.
Oh my God! And I'm going in between like cold and hot in my body right now. It's
just stop. Just stop.
Can I tell you that I have some sort of thing going on with my eye, my right eye too? You can see it? Okay, yeah. This is what happened. Yesterday I was brushing my teeth and the toothpaste accidentally squirted into my eye. And so I irritated my eye with I don't think toothpaste is supposed to go in your eye. I'm just pretty sure that's
You're
not.
a mess, Mike.
I am. I have games on Sunday to play too, so hopefully I can be healthy by then.
You got a few days to recover. Hopefully that Pedialyte helps you.
There we go. Yes.
Why don't you pour that in your eye?
Yeah, maybe that'll help.
We are so off subject right now. People are like tuning in. They're like, I thought this was a goalkeeping podcast. It sounds like about
and we do not have a sponsorship by Pedialyte.
No, it sounds like it should be promo code S Weber for 15% off. Pedialyte, if you're listening. Jordan, I want to talk about on the field though. How does college prepare you for the pro game, or at least playing at the level that you played at?
Yeah, so honestly, I think nothing will, at least from my experience, nothing will truly get you ready for the next level. In the sense of like adapting to what it's like there. I think the summer kind of really opened my eyes to that as well. Like, and then coming back into the college environment after the summer. But I grew so much as well as like on the field, but as well as off the field, like as a person and as a leader. And I think my mindset and being able to deal with things both on and off the field in college has helped prepare me for the next level. And I think that's the biggest piece that I would take away is how much I've grown as a person over my 5 years in college to help. And that's built and helped get me to where I am today. But especially this preseason, just seeing, I think college helped me and I'm not afraid to fail. And I think that was the biggest piece I could take with me to the next level is I'm not afraid to make mistakes. Like in practice, I write on my armor for every game, be brave when I look down. Because normally if you mess up something, your head always goes down. So like be brave. Go for those passes that maybe are a little tighter than you're comfortable hitting in a tight game. But just continuing to have that mindset as well as it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. We're changing environments. Things are not going to happen overnight. I didn't change overnight in college. I've changed so much in 5 years. It's a process. It's a journey. So being able to take the mindsets and things that I've learned in college and be able to apply them to the professional, like being a pro now, has helped me immensely.
I feel like I need to record that and listen to it over and over again from myself too. That's a solid positive affirmation there, Susk.
Yeah, I was wondering how it was walking in and training with Adriana and everything. Like, how was that initial?
I think it's crazy because the minute you take a step back and you're like, I watch these people on TV, like I've idolized these like the people I'm about to train with growing up, and being able to just be able to learn and see like personal goals, like what AD has done is what I want to do in my life, and being able to learn from her and Cassie. I can't speak high enough for the two of those. Two incredible people, incredible goalkeepers, and I couldn't be more excited to be a part of this goalkeeping group and continue to learn from them. But just being able to see the standard in which they hold themselves to and how they train and how they be a pro. Because everyone talks about like being a pro, but there's so many questions you also have about, okay, what does being a pro really entail? Like, how do they live their life? What do they do? So it's really cool to be able to pick their brain and see how they do it and be able to learn from them.
I think Jordan should teach a webinar on how to be how to come into a professional environment. You seem to be rocking it. Saskia, obviously, you've mentored and you've chatted with a lot of players who come from the collegiate environment into the professional environment. What are some of the misconceptions that young college players have about the pro game?
Well, I don't think it's misconceptions. I think Jordan hit the nail on the head. Like, you have to go in with a certain amount of humility and be willing to learn. and be willing to grow. And I think that if you have a player, and even coming from high school, you've seen it, have a high school player come into a major college environment thinking, well, I've been the best, you know what I mean? I won my ECNL and I did this and I did that, and expecting to walk right in. And how that's incredibly rare, if not impossible. And there's a learning curve, and it's what we've said, it's on the field and off the field. And if you go in with the mindset that I need to learn, I need to understand what it is to be pro, like take bits and pieces from the people around you, use them, and hopefully they're open, like giving back as well. And that's how you do it. Like you don't go in, you know, you can go in saying gangbusters, look, I'm going to bring it every day, and I'm going to make myself ready that I want to start. That is the right mentality. Absolutely. But at the same time, that's brought with some sort of humility, you know, and understanding.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost thinking like, you know, kind of like that first year, that first professional year, or that first preseason, Jordan, is kind of very similar to like if you come into as a freshman into a college environment, and you know, maybe there's a senior, there's the number one or whatever, and they say, hey, you know, you're going to redshirt this year so that, you know, you can take some time to acclimate to this environment, get used to the speed of play, that sort of thing. You brought up the speed of play thing, and it was just making me think about how many players have you seen go into a professional environment and they try to redo themselves because the speed is so much faster.
Yeah. No, I think Lloyd actually gave me a really good piece of advice kind of before, like everything before the draft. He said, no matter where you go, just stay true to who you are. Don't try to fit your environment. And the biggest thing I've done with is being me has gotten me to where I am so far. It's gotten me through my whole life. So why would I change now? Like,
yeah. And I think you have to remember you were brought in because you're you. You know, and yes, there are going to be things that need to be tweaked, and you need to catch up to the speed and all of that stuff. But you're brought, and I think you see a fault in goalkeepers, whether it's coming into college or into the pros, that say, I need to be a D. Like, this is what they want. No, she's her, and she has her strengths and weaknesses, and you're you, and you have your strengths and weaknesses. And Lloyd's going to help with the weaknesses, but highlight the strengths. And they might be totally different, but you're drafted because of that. And if you try to go in thinking you're supposed to be somebody else to fit a mold, you're going to fail.
Yeah. And I've seen so many people, including myself, try to do that and go, oh, well, I've got to play just like that guy because that guy's playing right now. So that's what they want or whatever, not recognizing, you know, my own qualities and obviously, you know, my own different physical structure and all that sort of thing.
That's right.
You know, Jordan, I was just thinking about the fact that, you know, obviously you have a relationship with Lloyd, you know, that he's seen the progression with you. And so do you feel like that might be a little bit easier for somebody than goes in to, you know, an unknown goalkeeper coach who they've never worked with before?
Yeah, no, I think like going in the summer and being able to train for a week in Kansas City was amazing. It's great to see and like just kind of understand what the environment is like. And I got the opportunity to train with AD and Cassie and Sydney at the time in Kansas City. You got to see what the dynamic was like in the group, how training sessions were. So I knew what, if I were to go there, I knew what it would be like to an extent. So I thought like that personally helped me, and also being able to be like, this is what I want. This is where I want to be. Like I love these sessions. I love the challenges. Like this is where I want to be learning from these people.
Yeah. You know, Saskia, obviously, you know, not every player is going to have the access to those resources, you know, such as Jordan, which is amazing to have those connections and everything like that. But if young players out there do get the opportunities to not even if they can't even step into the sessions, just to audit, like how much can they learn from that?
Well, they can learn a ton, you know. We always talk about goalkeeping and coaching being a gray area. And, you know, there's certain tools you need in your toolkit across the board. And then you can use those tools to adapt to whatever environment you come in, like whatever the team's dynamic is, however their structure is, however your back line is set up, however the goalkeeper coach likes to coach, like have your fundamental tools ready to go, but then be open to adapt. And then you might get traded, and it might be a whole new system and a whole new goalkeeper coach and a whole new philosophy. But the philosophies aren't as far askew as they sound. they're a lot tighter. And as long as you have that adaptability, you'll succeed.
So Jordan, I have a question for you. How did preseason feel the same as kind of going into a college preseason, or did it feel like a very different type of setup?
Absolutely
like,
not.
"Oh, no."
Very different. Very different. I think obviously when you go into preseason as like a freshman too, from high school to college, it's a big jump. But I felt this jump is even bigger, just because you're playing with some like the best in the world. You're playing with the best of the best, and being able to like adapt and change to what I've been used to at school, whether it's the pace of the ball, the pace of the game, just like when you feel from high school to college, the pace in which the ball moves, you just feel like in your head you're 3 steps behind. That's how it feels, just kind of getting in games. Everything's happening so much quicker. Players are a lot smarter. They will expose you, and if you give the smallest area, you're going to get beat. Whereas in college, you can kind of get away with it sometimes. You can't get away with it at the next level. And so just for me, like obviously time, like reps and being able to see things is helping. It's still going to take a while, but just continuing to see things has helped. As the weeks go on, you can see little steps being made. I think just for me, the biggest thing I did is just make little goals. Like I've messed up more in the last month than I think I messed up all in college. I was telling Will that I was like, I've messed up more in this month than I think I ever have. But that's good. Like that's all. Like
that's how you learn.
That's how you learn. And so that's something like my not being afraid to fail has helped me in that sense. Is like, okay, I didn't do this great today, but I did this great today. I definitely felt better on this, and just being able to keep building and find one thing every day. So little goals.
I was just going to say that, Jordan, Saskia, like the insecurity, at least that I've seen with a lot of young players coming into a pro environment, of worry about making mistakes and not recognizing that if they try to be perfect, they're actually going to end up, first off, they're going to lose their mind because you can't be perfect. And second of all, is that they're not expecting you to be the full puzzle put together when you come in.
No, and what the mistakes are fine because it gives us as coaches like something to build off of. Like, are you consistently making this mistake, or was this a one-off and it's like, okay, that's probably never going to happen again, but if you're consistently making something, Lloyd will say, okay, how do we tweak this and how do we build it and how do we coach it? If you're trying to play safe and perfect, that's absolutely not what a coach or a team wants, and especially in training. It's because what you do then is you don't extend your range in anything. You need to go for things, and you need to, like, just analogy of crosses, extend your range, like try for things that you wouldn't have. That's what that, and now against bigger, stronger, faster players, where, okay, maybe your range in crosses was like to the 6, hypothetically, right? Hopefully I know it's not farther, but to the 6, right? And that was fine in college and everything like that, eating everything up, but you're going to get punished, right? So now you've got to clean things up a little bit further out, and you've got to work on that, and you've got to train that. Just as the pace of the game is faster, your ability has to get better and faster. And the only way to learn that is to make mistakes.
Yeah. And it's funny. I was just going to say, Jordan, that like you were talking about, the environment, you can't get away with some of the things that you were getting away with in college. And like, I remember there was this one guy that I was working with, and he would do the hand on the hips. He would get hand on the hips. And I saw him about a year later, and I was like, oh, I noticed that you're no longer putting your hands on your hips. It's like, what changed? He's like, oh, I went to a pro training camp. And I no longer have the time to put my hand on my hips, basically, because they can read those cues. And then
but I would think with Jordan, I'm thinking more of punishing, like if you're not putting let's say you're building out of the back and you're not putting that ball where it's supposed to be. The other team's picking up, whether you're playing small sided or whatever, and your forwards on KC are putting it back in the back of the net, and you're like, I can't put that into no man's land. That's got to go right onto whoever's foot or into the right space so they can run onto it, because now I'm getting punished for it. And in college, I got away with it. All right, I didn't, I shanked it. I didn't put it into the right space, but we cleaned it up and everything's fine. Now it's right back down your throat.
Oh, 100%.
And I was actually just thinking about
I
that.
think it's beyond hands on the hips.
A little bit.
I was trying to give a physical analogy that people could understand. You know, maybe some of Jordan's friends are listening who aren't in the
there you
weeds of
go.
goalkeeping,
Yeah.
you know, and they can understand hand on the hip.
You mean
They
you're
can't
not
understand.
you're not leaning on the goalpost, like hanging out, like
Picking
Sitting
Danny,
down
picking
when they're
Dan-
in the attacking third, taking a
Or
quick seat.
Saskia used to count. She used to
Danny
count the
line.
wings. No, you used to count
the
the wings,
planes.
right? The planes.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, I know the tail insignias of planes. Like I could be like, oh, that's Qantas or that's American and stuff.
That's funny.
Uh-huh.
I love that.
That's a
When you know
private
you're
story.
that's a pretty solid team right there. Before we kind of get into some of these breakdowns, Jordan, I actually want to talk about that you know, Saskia was bringing up a possession play and systems of play. How similar or dissimilar is KC, the way they play, to the way you played at Iowa State?
We kind of, obviously systems are a little bit different, but I think just like the keeping the ball and being able to obviously find the highest threats if possible, but fairly similar. Like I was super blessed at Iowa State to be able to really be involved with my feet. And obviously the position of the goalkeeper is obviously transitioning more, like you're not just back there saving shots. You're definitely that 11th player on the field. And I think that's growing in the game all over.
Oh, absolutely. Completely. And I mean, Saskia, we've even just talked about just the fact that like the starting position of the goalkeeper's completely changed, you know?
I was
now
I used to be able to pick up the back passes. I will tell that joke forever. Although that changed while I was playing. So I was like,
hold on.
what?
I have to pull before we go into the breakdowns, I want to pull this up. I want to pull this up right here. I want to pull up.
Oh my God.
Look, I want to show you guys something here. Okay, let's see if I can find it here. Now
What
we're
are
gonna
you
watch
up
all
to?
these. Trust me, we're gonna watch all these. This. What the heck are you doing? Jordan is literally, she's inside the circle.
Are you
She's
taking
inside the circle. She's taking the free kick.
Nice.
You have to, I don't know if
talk
It's a
about-
good, hey, guess what? It's a good thing you ran track.
yeah, seriously, I got them back. I had to get my catapult numbers high, so I wouldn't have to do extra running.
Yeah, like,
I mean,
good
look at
thing
this.
We know you
Yeah,
can get
and-
that.
Literally just saw her right there turn around and sprint back. That's a pretty good ball you played in right there,
It's a
though.
I
great ball.
appreciate it.
Look at
Yeah, I don't
that.
know if you found, we played a few Big 12 games. The first ever game I played, or our first ever Big 12 win, I would say, we played Baylor. And in high school, I would do this thing where I'd catch a cross or something, and if teams were high, I would just I'd roll the ball out of the 18 and just dribble until I got it. And it was like, oh, I might as well make this
Is Lloyd
interesting.
watching?
We'll see. I don't know. I'll have to send him this.
Kind of don't think you'll be doing this pro, because if your center back or somebody can't hit this ball, then Casey's got a big problem. And no, Casey does not have a problem with all their draft picks.
Yeah,
So-
definitely not. But the first time I did it, I think I gave Dan a heart attack on the sideline. We did almost score off of it. But if you go and watch back the film, I put the ball down and dribble, and I think all my teammates are like, well, what is this girl doing? They don't even know what to do. They're just awkwardly behind me, like looking over the side, like, I don't know what we're supposed to do. Dan's getting up from his seat, sprinting down, saying, please just kick the ball. Kick it down. I don't want you doing that
Get
anymore.
back!
But teams actually would scout it to a point where if we were losing or something, they put someone right in front of me, so I couldn't pick the ball up and dribble anymore. So I had to wait a little bit.
I can't remember who we were playing against at UCLA that their keeper used to do that and come up. Who was it? Used to
It
come
was
up.
Jordan.
and
It was
take-
probably you guys played at
No, it
Iowa
wasn't
State. It was Jordan.
It wasn't Jordan, but they would come up and take free kicks and stuff. And I'd be like, get the ball, Lauren, and knock it. And like, Sunshine or somebody run onto it and just put it in the back of the net. Why are you passing midfield?
Hey, I got an assist one game for it. It works. People don't know what they're doing. They're like, what is this kid doing?
They're just shell shocked.
Yeah, just went
They're like,
for
I think
it.
I think they put a field player in goal. I think that's what happened. I think their goalkeeper. They didn't have any goalkeepers.
You have to ask
I
Matt
love
how
it.
many times I asked to play on the field. I was like, put me up top. I'd be like a little surprised. Teams don't know what to do. Like, what is this kid doing?
Oh my!
Never
Oh
worked.
my! Oh
I only
my
scored
gosh.
in some spring scrimmages. That was about it.
So we have on my men's team right now, we have 3 goalkeepers on the team. I'm the one playing in goal, the other 2 playing on the field. And neither one of them want to have anything to do with playing in the goal. They only want to play on the field. They only want to play either up top or, like an outside wing position so that they get a lot of action, basically. Like that's how they do it. and my foot skills are not good enough, so I'm just staying in the goal. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. All right, let's stop talking about me and my men's league, and we'll go into these actions right here. I want to start sharing some of these because I think, you know, one of the really cool things, Jordan, is you know, we look at these different actions. Saskia was looking at all these different actions, you know, when everyone was scouting for the draft, and a lot of these actions, you know, kind of show the qualities and why you got drafted. So I want to break down one of these plays. This is against TCU, and this is like in the 28th minute. Outside the 18, this player basically just shreds, cuts inside, lays off to Cameron Lancaster, who crosses in a floated ball towards Brian, who, look at that save right there. I just want to walk through that again because I love that drop step here that you have coming across, patience, and then just a solid tip over. Let's walk through it from the very beginning here. What are you seeing here?
So obviously that player got cut in, got to protect the space in behind, just our two center backs. Try to make the service predictable from our center back, but I'm prepared for the shot because earlier in this game she ripped one upper 90, so I was like, that is not happening again. Obviously as the ball goes wide, just protecting that near post, but also making sure you pretend that once I know that's not coming in, kind of protect the cross. And then we actually worked on this in training right before this game because this was in scout. Just stay balanced, don't guess, and make the save.
I love this right here. Saskia, anything you want to add to here? I mean,
Yeah,
I just love the patience.
No, and I think the point is that the drop step's key here, because I think you'll see a lot of keepers that'll get caught like, oh, maybe I should come. I mean, this is 5 yards out, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I should come. And even if you get that hesitation where your first initial thing is like, okay, I should come, that you're done, right? So you come, you don't come. But instead you realize, okay, I got to drop step, get some depth, and it allows you to make the save. And it's a great save, but it's everything that leads up to that. That's excellent. And that's what we're looking at. And we talked about that. Like, we talk about that a lot in the sense, like, I'm looking for what leads up to you making the save. Like, how do you handle the situation? Like, we can break it down from the top that I think there should have been more direct pressure, and it should have been they shouldn't have left the one out to get totally tooled and then drop, and then she should have been a little closer so she couldn't get the cross off. We could get into all of that, right? But
Gordon, this is why she works for CBS. This is why she works for CBS.
But
right.
The point is, you didn't bite, and it's a weird ball because it's kind of lofted. It's not really driven. And I think we see some players that'll come and try to get a punch on this, but you're like, I'm not there. I'm drop stepping. I'm putting myself in the right position. If you didn't, it's a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a weak goal. It's a goal that would have just dinked over you.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you were just slightly out of alignment right there, a little step forward, I think Gracie Bryan probably puts that header in because you're probably not going to be able to get that hand up in time. But the fact of how precise this drop step is, as you recognize Chase to just shift over.
But she even gets set after the drop set.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not still dropping. So so it's and you might not even see it, but it's a drop set, boom. And being able to change your momentum to go up and not keep going back. So I get really technical. So
no, I love that. I love this, and the weight forward too on the set too.
But that's what I mean. Like, she's able to readjust her energy, which a lot of people get caught not being able to set really quick and go up with the energy. They're still going back. They tip it into the under part of the bar, off the bar, or anything. Set, boom, up, over.
Oh, such a great point, Saskia. How many goalkeepers drop step negative into the goal in this situation, so that by the time they're reaching up, they're all trying to pull the ball out of the net, as opposed to being in front, being able to.
We're not getting any power to get it over the bar.
Yeah, it's almost as if you've worked with good goalkeeper coaches. So I don't know.
I know.
I'm very blessed.
It's all Jordan too. All right, let's we'll move on to this next play right here. Look at that. Your team's congratulating you. All right. So again against TCU. This is a crazy kind of scenario here. It's the 7th minute. The ball's kind of bouncing around inside the 18. Kind of finally, like, Seven Castaigne gets control, and it's a slight pass to a TCU player that hits a shot that kind of takes a bad deflection. So you're going down because you're already going momentum wise, but then it's immediate chase and recovery to get in space and get ready for the shot, and it's a simple play over. The reason I wanted to show this play is because so many kids in this situation right here, when that right here, freak out. They're like, where's the ball? Where's the ball? And you know where the ball is the entire time. So look
Who
how
is that?
simple that is.
Who is that? 8
Who?
on your team? Right
My
in front
center
of you?
that's dropped.
Yeah.
It's 6, I think.
Does she want her Does she want your gloves?
We ran into that a little bit. Yeah, I think first and the second. I was like, she's trying to make me better. Add a little bit of screen in front of me so I couldn't see.
Oh my God, your team's your own worst enemy right here.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
No,
So-
but this is a great point, because even with the screen from your own teammate and everything, but to be able to get up and recover, I'm just laughing at, what is she doing?
Oh my God.
I
This
have
is so
to pee.
hard.
I don't know if you see. I have to pee because I can't.
I know
see.
you're looking
I'm
around
trying
your own
to
player,
pee.
but there's no TCU player around for miles.
Why is she
It's
there?
like the epitome of keeping everybody on sides, to be honest with you. I can't get over the player, so I think the save's amazing. I just can't get back to the player.
Oh my God.
She wants to see it from my angle. That's why.
Yeah.
Apparently.
She
Maybe
wants to
when
do
you
the
go-
break.
Is this the one that when you go up and do the kicks, that she has to stay back?
Yeah. Yeah. And see here, right here, but if you guys can see, and I want all the young players here who are seeing it, if you're listening to it, I want you guys to go back and watch the video podcast, is that Jordan's eyes are still tracking that ball. You know, your head didn't just stay like this. Your head stayed with the play. If everyone could see my snake move here, it's what you were doing right there. And then right here, she's set. She doesn't overcommit over a cross, which is, I think, what happens a lot of times.
Well,
Boom.
I think also the efficiency of you recovering. Like, it's that quick push up, one hand, and you're back. And a lot of players, when they get back up from this type of a position, get back up on their heels or negatively, your body weight's forward. It's a quick crossover step, which instead of a shuffle, which gets you there really quick, and you're back in position.
Yeah,
Yeah.
things like being balanced too, because
Yeah.
I'm guessing,
Exactly.
hoping it's going away, but being able just to react to where it's going. It's better just to be balanced than in the right position and still trying to move to get there.
Absolutely. Better. Yes, 100%.
Jordan, question for you right here. When this ball is hit, are you already thinking parry or
Yeah.
you
It was
okay?
just like seeing the spin and it rising, trying to catch that. I don't want it to drop in behind. So I left my feet, made sure it cleared the bar, just get it over and live to fight another day.
Yeah, look at that airborne, getting airborne like that. All that
Strength
power.
coach is right there.
Yeah. See, if this were a TikTok, it would just be this part right here with no context whatsoever. And people are like, yeah, and like kids are like, that's what you're supposed to do. They're like, no, there's a lot of pieces that lead to that right there. All right, that's my rant. That's my old man yelling off the lawn rant right there about TikTok. I sounded so old right there. All right. Oh, look at that. Again, look at the passion showcasing right there. All right. So let's go to this right here. So this is a free kick scenario. This is kind of, I think this is against Creighton.
Mhm.
It's the 5th minute. This is like far out, Jordan. This is like what, like 30? This is very far out.
I'm honestly deeper than I would like to be. Like, I want to talk this back, but she read shoot all the way
Yeah.
on this. So I was like, I'm not taking any chances trying to. If it played in behind, I would deal with it then. But
And you guys can't see off camera right here, but I think Hannah Luke is literally like doing like the whole like Looney Tunes, like the run up to the ball, like to try to get as much power as possible behind this ball, because she cranks that ball. It travels, watch, then redirects here. You have to recover, get across, adjust, and make this brilliant save. I mean, that is not an easy save to make from
it was
distance.
peeling
like that.
away, had some funky spin on it too.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
Woo, man, those are tough ones. Susk, anything you want to add here?
No, I think that, you read shot, you knew her abilities and stuff like that. So even though you'd like to be higher, I think the depth gives you time to adjust to the weird spin and everything, the funkiness on the ball. Sometimes depth is good for that. Lloyd's a proponent of that. So.
I think this is the hard part. I think this is the part where a lot of people panic, is right here, because that travel away from you, the ball breaking away like that, throws so many goalkeepers off because they're so committed mentally to that ball going directly at them. When it starts breaking, they panic and they just push off. But you moved your feet.
Mhm.
You get a little step before, if you guys see right here. Boom,
That
little
goes
step.
also trusting your feet and trusting your push as well. Not like
Mhm.
not taking too few steps, but not taking too many steps, and get that little half step in, and then just trust that power you have in that front leg. That'll get you there.
Yeah, because I think if you push off from here, I don't think you get it, to be honest with you. I think a lot of young players need to see that. If you go back and watch this, guys, because like if you push off from here, you know, it's that little micro movement, as Saskia always loves to say, her micro movements.
And that's
The
what the
little micro
the
movement.
depth gives me the ability to get that step in.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Which is why I thought that you were plenty deep, in my opinion. That was my thought. Did people want you to be higher?
I just think normally at free kicks, normally play a bit higher just to defend that space, but I just remember in this moment reading shot all the way, and there was no need to
I
be
think
any
that's
higher.
an iffy area because
Yeah.
number one, it's straight on. So aside from that being like a dink or a chip into that between the 6 and the penalty spot, like that's even a tough service for a field player to put into that spot. Like I think your depth and your positioning is perfect for this. Easier to go forward than back.
100%.
Very, very true. That is very, very true. Which is crazy because nowadays as goalkeepers, we're playing so high, a lot of our movements are negative. But that's a whole other topic for a whole other day to get into. We only have so much time before my voice goes. All right, so let's move on. A lot of free kicks here. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of having fun with these free kicks here. So I think this is Megan Riley from Oklahoma, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a couple of years ago. And essentially this is a ball. I think it's like 22 yards out. It's kind of looped over the near post, over the wall. And you have to just make some really solid lateral movement to get across. And again, that ball was going in. That was not an easy play. And you stayed in front of it to play it in front of the post too. So first off, what are we seeing here and how much scouting went into this, Jordan?
A good amount. I think a big thing for me too, I got beat on a free kick. I was too tight. I didn't defend my back post enough and got beat obviously you have to protect that space where your wall's not. I got beat there. I wasn't set, so I made sure here to be set on that outside and cover that back post, but also know that I could get back across and make that save. This game was atrocious. It was cold and raining in Ames, Iowa. The worst weather you could possibly have, in my opinion, minus some snow. But just this was, I think, later in the game too, and just being able to own this moment was big for us. Like we always talk about, like owning set pieces and winning the set piece game. So
you brought up such a great point, Saskia. I wasn't even thinking about that. That like these are the types of moments that kind of like galvanize your team into being like, okay, look at like, yeah, you've said that
just now.
No, you said it. You said it in the past.
I'm just kidding. No, it is, especially late in the game when you can come up with a save or any point in the save to help like kind of push your team. But what I'm looking at is I love the crossover into the short micro movement shuffle into to get your power to push. You know, you see a lot of keepers that might take a shuffle and try to push, but that crossover right there into your power step to push is so key. It just gives you so much more momentum to really get as much power as you can there.
Yeah, I think the angle of the free kick helped, able to help that decision as well because there's a bit more time versus it being straight on.
Yeah.
And I think too is that crossover allows you to stay forward too. I think if you shuffle, you actually end up going negative to that post because of the way the ball's bending away.
Yeah, I just think it'd be too slow. I don't think you'd get there.
Yeah. Well, Jordan, Saskia was known as La Gata. She was El Gato. El Gato. She was known as El Gato in the WUSA.
Well, that was a
cat-like
personal thing, but yes.
That was a personal.
I think like if Julie Foudy and them were listening, they'd be like, "What?" That was like an A B thing between me and Tony, but okay.
Okay.
Not everyone knows.
Whoops.
No, but now everybody knows.
Well, I guess now I shared it with everybody here. All right, let's move on to this right here. Jordan, this is against Iowa. A little bit of rivalry, right? Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. It
Just
is a
little-
Cyclone State, just so everyone knows. We did win the series this year.
Woo!
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
And I think, you know, honestly, and red looks better out there than, you know, than no. Anyway, I want people from Iowa to come on the show too. So let's see. we won't do that. So this is a crazy scenario because I think this is like in the 17th minute. I think you guys are down to 10 players, right?
Yeah.
And the ball's just kind of, as Saskia likes to say, it's a debacle inside the 18. It's just bouncing everywhere. Look at all of this. What is going on? This is like bunch ball with the U5s, you know, like where they're all standing around the ball. The ball finally pops out to Addie Bundy, who just hits a laser in traffic. I can't see it. I don't know where you can finally see it. To the upper corner, it's redirected. What a save there. And again, talk about galvanizing your team. There's just so much going on here. Jordan, tell us first off what's going on with
Hey, Andy, we're screened again.
Yeah,
I'm
a lot of
getting that
going on.
screening practice
No,
in.
you have to send her some flowers or something. Just like, thanks for making me such a great goalkeeper under pressure with the screen.
Literally, I just think this is one of those moments. The team we're kind of frantic. We don't really know.
No, I know. I'm just having fun.
No, 100%. Just trying to fight another day, get the ball out, try to clear. And
Yeah.
honestly, I don't even know what went through my head in this moment. Trying to find the ball.
Yeah, but you have a good
set.
solid. You are set. I think you
bit.
are. Little micro hop in there and stuff like that. But I think for the most part you're set. Crossover and then top hand.
Yeah.
You know, that's tough because you're talking about like 15 yards, you know, from the shot and everything with everybody in front of you. I think, you know, good vision. You found that you got sight on the ball, obviously.
That's a brutal ball. That is a. I don't think anyone would fault you if that went in. I mean, honestly, because I don't know how you saw it. I don't know when you saw it. I mean, you probably know better than we do. But I think it is also such a testament to the fact that like staying calm in a panicking situation is so massive to get to that next level. For any young goalkeepers out there who are wondering what it takes to get to that professional level, it's composure, calm, starting position, you know, and being effective in the moment with an effective action. I mean, and again, if you were unsuccessful in that action, I don't think anyone would have faulted you right there. But just giving it a chance and not giving up on it, I think it's massive.
Yeah, just staying with
Although
it.
Saskia would have liked you to hold it, but you know.
I didn't
I'm
say
kidding
that.
on that. No, I'm kidding on that.
The free kick, yeah, but no, just kidding.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
I'll work on that one.
I'm so kidding.
Actually, I don't even think. Yeah, actually, I don't think you could have gotten both hands across anyway.
Yeah.
I think. Look at where that is. I couldn't have stopped that. That's for sure.
Anytime you need a hype session before you have to play, just give us a call.
You guys are great hype people. I love it.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! Did you see that?
Yeah. Come on.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we
You
go.
gotta light a little fire sometimes.
Yes, think. I love it. I love it.
That's
All right.
great.
All right. I'm gonna remove all of those right there. Well, Jordan, I hope you had a lot of fun
Now
with
I'm
that.
fired up.
I did. Thank you so much for having me on. This was
Oh my
awesome.
God! Of course. Oh, we're not done just yet. Come on.
No,
we gotta-
perfect. I'm just saying thank you. I'm appreciative.
Okay. Quick question for you. Do you have any advice for any you know ingoing college seniors? Like a lot of them are obviously going into their spring season, getting ready for their college season next year, regular season next year, who have pro aspirations. Like, what's your advice for them in this coming year for the next 12 months?
So I think the biggest thing for me, everyone was, as the spring and fall starts, everyone's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to stay? Are you going to go? Because actually I had a 6 year, but everyone's like, you're going to stay? Are you going to go? Like, what are you going to do? Like, what's your plan? I just think the biggest thing for me was just staying where my feet was. Just like enjoying the moment, enjoying every game. If you're senior year, it's your last year of college. Enjoy it. You've worked so hard each and every day, and you've progressed so much over the last 4 to 5 years. Just be where your feet are, and you can think about the future, but at the end of the day, like where you are right now and where your feet are is the most important. And continuing to get better, and if that is an aspiration, continuing to push yourself, whether it's in the weight room, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's on the field, but just continuing to get better, like take risks in practice, continuing to push yourself, because I think that's the biggest thing at the next level too, is you never know what each day is going to hold, or you never know what's going to come your way, but being able to push yourself to hold yourself to high standards is going to ultimately get you where you want to go. That'll be my
I
biggest
think-
thing, just staying where your feet are and enjoying the moment, because that's what I did my last year. I didn't take a game or practice for granted, whether it was good or bad. I left and I was like, I gave everything I had today. If soccer was over tomorrow, I would be happy that knowing that I gave it everything I had. And if I didn't come back for my 6th year and this was my last game, I'm at peace knowing I didn't hold anything back.
You're so inspirational. I feel like you should do it. Be doing like
You're
TED
such great hype people,
TED
man.
Talks or
Such
like
great.
motivational speaking. Jordan will be speaking at her high school, talking about success.
Oh, please. I appreciate it.
I was gonna say this, Saskia, with what Jordan was saying right there. I never even thought about it, but like you even just using myself as an example, whether it's soccer or anything like that. How often do I, end up focusing on the future or my next step as opposed to what's in front of me right now, and how really the only way to be successful at that next step is if I focus on what's in front of me right now, which is
Be in the
spring
moment.
season.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
look, there's short-term goals, long-term goals, but going into your senior year and everything like that, like, yes, if you want to play pro, but you can't look beyond your senior year. You can't be in the moment. I told Lauren the same thing. I mean, look, she won a national championship and she went in the draft as well. But at that time, it was just like, get through this season. You've worked 5 years, to be here and be present for it. And the rest will work itself out. It'll fall into place, because if you're not in the moment, mistakes come.
Mm-hmm.
And those are seen,
Yeah.
100%.
Jordan, you don't have to get too personal or too in the weeds here, so that, scouting reports are written or anything like that, or Lloyd goes, hey, you shouldn't have told that out on the air. But are there any specific goals you want to share that you have for your first professional, year?
I think it's really important to understand the environment and situation you're going into. I think Dan was telling me on average a goalkeeper in the league doesn't play for 3 years. And I think just obviously for me, being able to have short-term goals that are achievable, that can help me move forward, because obviously games that would be amazing, but my main goal is just to learn, continue getting better, but also set small goals, whether it's handling. It's okay, I'm struggling with the pace coming in. My goal is to catch 80% of the balls in warm-ups. Obviously you're gonna, it's like a tentative goal. There's obviously, if service isn't there or something, there's gonna be things that could skew that number, but just setting small goals each week or whatever, doing a performance plan, and being able to pick the category of the topic and okay, this is what I'm going to focus on today. If we're working on crosses, it's going to be catch ball at the highest point or something like that, picking one thing each practice to get better. And so I'd say they're more small tentative goals, but just the biggest this year is just continuing to learn from AD and Cassie and Lloyd and be able to take in as much as I can and just be a sponge.
I think that, you have the perfect mentality going into this. Always remember to, be your best out there, because it just makes AD and Cassie better.
Exactly.
And you have a reality in front of you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Reality is that it's a World Cup year, and that, for all intents and purposes, AD is going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And, the possibility of playing is a reality. With Cat, you don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just don't look at ranks 1, 2, and 3. Look
Mm-hmm.
at, I always say 1, 1.5, right? And educate yourself so much and be present so much that when AD leaves or when something happens, nobody on that team thinks that there's a shift or a drop in ability or
Mm-hmm.
in how you impact the team from the start, if AD's the starting keeper leaving,
Mm-hmm.
But you're doing everything right. You're going to give your master class and everything. And
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have to work on that one.
No, she's going to she's going to not master class. She's going to do a union class. She'll do a class on the union. She'll do a module on the. She'll do a webinar on the union.
You are
goalkeeper.
correct.
There it is.
Jordan, but before we go, if anybody wants to connect with you out there and offer you some speaking engagements, where's the best place for them to reach out to? Reach out
Wow,
to you?
free promo, I'll take it. Probably my Instagram.
And we'll put that in the show notes so that you guys have that. And if you obviously want to reach out to us, everybody, it's contact at Goalkeeper Podcast for guest suggestion or topic suggestion, or contact at InsideThe18media.com on regular email. But on the Union app, it is at Goalkeeper Podcast, at S. Weber on the Union app, at Michael Magid on the Union app, if you want to reach out to us directly. If you have no idea what we're talking about, we're talking about the Union Goalkeeper Community. It's a free app that's available on all different platforms. Engage, educate, entertain one another. We're going to have top coaches, players. We're going to be having a lot of cool stuff. We have a webinar coming up next week with the SMI, Soccer Management Institute, and Rome City Football Club out of Italy. And that's going to be really awesome. So go on the line and you can get the registration link. It's completely free. And speaking of free, we would like to keep this entire platform and the Union free. And the only way we can do that is through the support of people like yourselves. So we have set up a Patreon. It is patreon.com/GKUnion. Every little bit helps, guys. There's a bunch of different level tiers where you have a bunch of different level rewards you get for the different tiers. So go on there, check it out. The money goes directly back into supporting goalkeeping edutainment that we are providing out there, and making sure that I can afford to buy more cough drops so I'm not coughing all the time on the air.
And eye drops.
And eye drops.
And Pedialyte.
And Pedialyte, yes.
How can
So,
you forget
guys,
that?
So if you're Ricola or you're Electrolyte and you would like to sponsor the podcast, we just gave you some free advertising without asking. All right, guys, that is all the time on Inside the 18, and we are out. Later, guys.